Thank you for such a big presentation, DeAndre. And now I am with you, first of all, like human being, like modern human being who stays in the situation we have in the world now. And I would like to speak with you from my heart about things which are really important for everyone, about illness and about health. And we start from scientific definition of what is health, not from illnesses, because usually we start to speak about evil, about illnesses, but now we try to be based on health understanding. And World Health Organization defines health like a state of well-being, physical, mental, psychical, and social well-being. And we now try to switch on anthroposophical knowledge, switch on spiritual science to understand what is the basis of all those levels of well-being. So what is well-being? This is a ability to be well, to feel well, to think on a right level, to experience world like a well one, and to be socially engaged in life. So how we can do this, and how is it possible in reality? It is possible when we cognize world in real way. How can we do this? I would like to start with, so to say, so-called bridge lectures of Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner gave these lectures, first of all, for doctors, but they are indeed for everyone. So, what is human being? Human being is being which exists in all levels of spirit and all levels of matter, and then all those levels, they penetrate each other. So we have our solid body, which we can experience like a physical one. We have our etheric body, which is a kind of liquid organisms. We have our astral body, which could be considered like air organisms, and we have our warmth organisms. This is the place of our eye, for our eye. And when we are in our day consciousness, all those organisms are penetrating by our eye and our astral body when we are sleeping. All those organisms are held in by spirits and soul beings, which keeps our integrity in any moment, even if our eye is not conscious. And if we really try to experience that this great structure is penetrated by spiritual levels, by spirits, and also by all four kinds of ethers. And in our warmth, in warmth of our eye, we can experience and can move, can use warm ether. What does it mean? It means that my eye and your eyes can direct our will. And if this will is directed from moral impulses, warmth of morality, real cosmic warmth is penetrating all our body. When this warmth of morality is coming into our astral body, light ether will shine in our astrality. And this shine allows chemical acid to come into our etheric body. And then when this chemical acid is sounding in our etheric body, in the movement of our liquids, real cosmic life is coming into physical body. And because of this, we are alive till the moment when warmth can't come through our eye. So we can see in this tremendous picture of Earth heaven bridge, which is any or every human being, we can see how our connection with morality really alives us. It's not empty words. But if we will look at the main point of our lecture, at the thinking, at the cognitive or cognition process, we can ask ourselves, what is the connection between cognition and all those levels of ethos? What is cognition? This is a process when I is connecting all experiences, all perceptions in one world picture. And if this world picture is penetrated by morality, this world picture will impulse etheric warmth and then light and sound and life in all our sheets. So life is growing. Life is, how to say, I would like to say living in us, like essential part of our existence. But what is moral in our thinking? Moral means not defined by death, not penetrating by death experiences. What kind of death do I mean? Now, almost all our scientific knowledge is based on our physical perceptions. But by our physical perceptions, we can perceive only those things which have died. So if everything is still alive, it can't be perceived, truly perceived, by our physical organs, our central organs. So if our picture of the world is totally based on our central perceptions, we can't find there the source of existence. And because of this, we have theory, theoretical plan of our life. And what theory does? Theory really put cold in our eye. Because I think all of us, we can remember that cold stones which are in our souls from some theoretical paths. For example, the Kant theory of our planet, when our Earth and all mankind is the result of a kind of exploding, and in the end there will be warmth, so to say, warmth death, when sun can't shine more, and everything will be like a big cemetery. Also our ideals, also all our culture will disappear. This is theory. And it could be, of course, because we can't experience life and spirit with our physical sensual organs. But this theory is really a factor which is cooling our life, which is cooling our eye warmth, and then light is disappearing in astral body, and then no sounds, no chemical ether coming from the etheric plane to our etheric bodies, and then no life is coming to our physical body. In accordance with individual possibility, in accordance with our karma, we experience different kind of diseases in this case, when our eye experience is not based on something which is purely spiritual, which is moral. And Anthroposophy gives us real possibility to connect our knowledge with morality, to connect our knowledge with cosmos. And this means that when we are going by the way of anthroposophical knowledge, we can really apply to those sources of different kinds of ether. And we try to do this now in our conversation. But we also would like to start now from non-wellness stage. We can come now to consideration of different kind of disease. So, social diseases. This is the level of our eye, because we are engaged in a social process, first of all, like eye beings. Moreover, social organisms, social life is something which we are building, and in the highest level which we are creating by our eye experiences, by our knowledge, by our understanding of the world, and by our moral impulses. And Anthroposophy also gives us definition of what is disease. Disease is right process in the wrong place, or we can say right process in the wrong time. And if we are looking at the social knowledge, what kind of really wrong process, wrong knowledge do we have, like a source of almost all our social problems, social diseases? I would like to start from such a disease which is war. What kind of wrong knowledge do we have on this level? Human being is individual spirit. We are such beings who really can bring moral impulses in itself. And we live in pure morality when we sleep. We can't mostly remember these experiences, but nevertheless, we can bring these moral impulses, which we just experienced in this night, in our warmth organisms. And then world spirit, which has held it, these warm organisms when we were sleeping, is coming out, and we are in our consciousness. When one really experiences himself or herself like spirit, it means that he or she is able to take responsibility. I am responsible for everything which is in my life. If this is really right, moral thought, and we can feel the truth of it. But very often one can have an inclination, do not take responsibility on himself. And in this case, someone is responsible. So I am not moral person. I am just a live body which is influenced by anyone or by some groups or by some nations or by anything which is coming from outside, and all my behavior is just a reaction. If it's so, we are really missing the essence of human being. Who is human being? Individual spirit. Spirit is a part of moral world, and only spirit can be more. The other wrong thought is that morality could be the group one. And during the First World War, Rudolf Steiner gave lectures about karma of non-truth. And in those lectures, he said that it's impossible to prescribe moral impulses to any group, to any nation. We can't think about any group of people like about bearing one moral impulse. And when we are doing this, this is one of the reasons of really big social diseases, very dangerous one. So if we try now to experience that moral is something which is individual, we really help us, we help the world, and we can start to build new peace. But Anthroposophy gives us such an image, a live image of folk spirit. Who is folk spirit? This is high spiritual beings which is acting in our etheric body. And because of folk spirit, we have real national features. We have some national temperaments, some very specific abilities which we can bring in our body. But we need the morality of our I to use those abilities. So if we would like to build and then to create real social life, healthy social life, if we would like to be able to have well-being existence in a social realm, we need to remember that morality and responsibility is real individual level, real individual feature. And all groups can't have, so to say, group morality. This is one of way how we can transform our thinking being based on anthroposophical spiritual science. Next level, this is psychical wellness. Psychical well-being, what does it mean for human soul? It means that human soul needs to experience itself like non-mortal one. It's very important because if I am mortal being, everything which I experience is also mortal. So I can't be based in this life in normal consciousness. And you know that a lot of young people are suiciding just in the time when their I incarnating onto the earth is experiencing this mortality, which is coming through all our educational system. Human soul is something which is not mortal. When we understand this, we can experience all life like real life, because human soul is alive in physical world, and human soul is alive also crossing the threshold of spiritual world. And it's very important definition, very important words, the threshold of spiritual world, not death. This is threshold which could be crossed, and anthroposophical knowledge and also even real wisdom of everyday life can help us to cross this threshold when we are still alive, when we are in connection with our physical and etheric bodies. And as a psychotherapist and psychologist, I really can say that most difficulties, most psychical diseases are really based on the great fear of death, are really based of non-possibility to cross the threshold, to experience that you are non-mortal being. There is a lot of young boys and girls who start to hear something from spiritual world. They hear voices, they saw images, and they feel real shock, great fear. They feel horror. And most of them are running to psychiatric clinic with their parents, and there are a lot of remedies which could be used to minimize our consciousness, to stop this experience of spiritual world. And anthroposophical knowledge gives us real treasure of understanding. I am not mortal being. Moreover, I can bring life from this physical life to spiritual world. How we are doing this? We can do this. We can bring new life into the spiritual world when we are moral beings in our everyday life. In this case, as I said before, warmth is switching on light in our astral body. And this light allows us to create real definition, real knowledge in our etheric body. And life is coming. Life ether is coming again and again into our physical bodies. And after our death, we can take this life with us to spiritual world. This understanding of human soul is real basis for our psychical well-being. But as I said before, if this knowledge does not exist in the soul, if experience of death is a kind of ice limits, ice brackets, which are enveloping our soul, there is a lot of psychical diseases which can come. I do not speak now about psychiatry, but psychical problems, such as panic attack and anxiety, and a lot. It's not a subject of our nowadays conversation, on our today conversation. So when we have this mistake in our thinking and our cognition, we are on the way of getting psychical disease. Next level of health, which World Health Organization defined, this is mental level. What is mental well-being? It's possibility to create real, true definition of world and of oneself. We need physiological basis for this, and we have it. We also have all these etheric treasures which allows us to do this, and we only need to connect those moral impulses which we are getting every night in spiritual world with those perceptions which we have on the earth when we do not sleep, when we are in all our body totalness, when we are in day consciousness. How we can do this? How we can really try to combine ideas which we are bringing with us from spiritual world with perceptions. I think all of you thought and maybe read Philosophy of Freedom. There is real way how we can do this, how we can allow the alive ideas to penetrate the darkness of our day consciousness. We need to be only honest in our thinking. Why do I connect these words in one? Why do I this conclusion? Why do I do this? What is the reason? What is the basis of my thinking? If we do this, we can find real way to create in our body alive definitions, a live picture of the world, and then our liquids are floating in a healthy way, and our astral body is sounding in accordance with sounds of planet, and it is possible on the way of cognition. What is the wrong process in that realm? When we use some statement without any experience of its truth, when we decide that any information or some, so to say, hot information, which is coming through our screens of computers and TV and smart and iPhones is just truth because there is a picture. It's a picture. I saw this. What kind of picture? What kind of information? We need to control our own conclusion. We need to look at this. We need to experience the truth, and everyone has sense of truth in his soul. So we need to use this sense, this experience of reality. In the situation when we have now, which we have now in Russia and all over the world, it's also very, very important. Sometimes patients and students and friends, they ask about my opinion, how we can find truth in this storming sea of information concerning political, economic, and all these military conflicts in the world. How we can find it? There is a not easy, not quick, but quite simple method. We can take opposite sources of information and try to find what is the same in it of them. And truth is there also. And those things which are in every of source of information, they really took place. And we also need to try to be in, so to say, calmness. Do not think about possible consequences and about reasons, because reasons and consequences could be considered from different point of view, and also consequences. They are not yet here, and we can build another ones, and we can create peace, first of all in our soul, through this precise thinking. Why did I do this conclusion? Why? What was the fact which stays or lies in the basis of my conclusion? When we think in this way, we can do a lot, not only in our own lives, but also in the world. And finally, the last level, physical body. Health is the state of physical well-being. Physical body which can really produce this life through being connected with the source of life ether. And how we can use our physical bodies. Are we grateful for the possibility to live what we are doing with physical bodies? This is also a result of our way of thinking. If this is mortal body, which is not suitable for me because I would like to be blondie, thin and tall, or I would like to be a person of another sexuality or something like this, what it is. It's just the last stage of being not thankful to spiritual and earthly worlds for our existence. It's just a state when we can't use possibilities to be well in our physical body. And modern people do a lot to be really sick on the level of physical body. I do not calculate all those methods. Everyone knows them. But this is the result of wrong thoughts in the right time. Most of us here in our conversation group, in our Zoom space, we are quite adult to have remembrances that 40 years ago, there was another bodies on the earth in the childhood and youth time. And we can see how earth is dying. And every human body which allows to keep clear consciousness, which allows to be well-being on a physical level, is great gift. This experience of physical body can really give us possibility to be healthy on those 4 levels. So we are in a situation when we can become ill because of some obstacles which we can't overcome on the way of knowledge. But should we consider illness like a chance? What is illness? This is a chance to change this situation when one eye is not aflamed by moral impulses. This is a chance to realize consequences of mistakes just through illness, because illness allows us still to be in physical body, even if thoughts are not right, even if will is directed not to good, even if feelings are full of hate, not of love. If illness does not exist, we had to die just immediately after being not possible to, how to say, have warmth in eye, light in astral body, chemical ether in etheric body, and new source of life in physical body. So our theoretical knowledge, which are dead, could really kill us if disease does not exist. Our sheets are so powerful, are so spiritual, are so moral, that they can really overcome some of our mistakes. And we need to develop gratefulness for our body, that it can help us to keep life, to get new and new chance, to look into the world with open eyes, to try to find way how we can cognize the world. And every symptom is an attempt of our body to change situation. This is also wrong thoughts when we try to minimize symptoms. In some of his medical lectures, Rudolf Steiner really pointed that fact that symptoms mean that overwhelming process has been started. Otherwise, no symptoms. When illness is coming, symptoms are not exist yet. For example, when we think about group responsibility and do not think about our own responsibility. We do not have social problem immediately. It takes some time. And when social problem appears, we can see we have done something really wrong and it must be changed. The same on the soul and etheric and physical level. Symptoms gives us just sign what and question, what are you doing? And symptoms shows us that body tries to balance the situation. And if wrong process in our thinking, of course they are coming into our body. They, how to say, give an existence to some pathological symptoms. It means that our physical sheets, that world spirit, world soul, and world life, they try to generate right process in our body, which can compensate those wrong thoughts which we have in our everyday life. And we also can finish with speaking about health. What is health? Health is state of well-being, physical, mental, psychical, and social. And all those states we can create, really create, because moral thinking is a creation. It's not just building, not compilation of some experiences and thought and some information. It's real creation. And we can do this. But it's one very important condition for this creation. Our thinking on the level of health and disease needs to be non-pathological one, but salutogenetic one. What do we have now? Very widely spread in our social life. Images of disease, of infection, of war, and we try to stop those things. So like images of future, we have these horrible things, new pandemic, or even bigger war and so on. This is pathological thinking when we try to prevent those things. In this case, in the end of our thoughts, of our thinking, we have this horrible image. So it lives in us and we pay and pay and pay our attention to those images. And they're growing. We strengthen them. In salutogenetic thinking, we have an image of health, an image of peace, an image of non-mortal life, like an ideal, like a real experience. And then we build a bridge to these ideals. What is ideal? This is experience of idea, of a life thought on the level of our I. And ideal of our thinking. This is really honest way to experience of truth. This is honest way to one's own I. And the first step of this I is responsibility responsibility. If something is in my life, I am responsible. Maybe I do not see this yet. Maybe I can't experience what kind of responsibility must be. But this understanding that my I is an active being in world is very important. And spiritual science gives us scientific basis to think so. Transformation, an image, and a core of thinking is the first stage of this transformation. We can think about health. We can think about life. We can think about peace and about possibilities to build new world. If this is at least 20% of our thinking, it's a good. It's really very good. If 20% of our attention is concerning those ideal images which can be realized in our life. But if 99% of our thoughts are directing on horror, disease, war, death, we can't connect spiritual messages which we are carrying in our I when we're waking up any morning or any day. We can't connect it with the following physical perceptions and bridge from earth to the heaven and from the heaven to the earth is again destroyed. And staying on this destroyed bridge, we do not have well-being on social, psychical, mental, and physical level. But as we see from this short, speaking, which is based on anthroposophical treasures of knowledge, we have everything. All tools, all possibilities, all possibilities to create our health. And to consider tests and diseases like guiding powers. It's not easy. But in my understanding, it's even more difficult to live in darkness of doubts, in darkness of fear, in darkness of hate, in darkness of non-truth. So I would like to finish now with this, again with definition of disease and then of health. Disease is right process in a wrong place, or we can say in the wrong time. But time, all time is right. It's the proper time for doing something which can be done in this time. And place is also like a gift. So we need to direct our thoughts in the wrong direction and to develop feeling of time, sense of time, which allows us to be in the state of well-being. Thank you for your attention, and maybe you have some questions or concerns and we can speak a little bit about them.
Yeah. Dear Tatiana, thank you so much for your wonderful lecture. Do you need a little break to restore your voice, or we can start it now?
No, we can continue, because every break in this time gives an experience.
Good, good.
That is good to see.
Let's begin. So, dear friends, do you know how to raise your hand? So if you will put your cursor or arrow in the bottom of your screen, so there's reactions. If you click on it, there's another button, raise hand. Okay, and so we have first question from Becky. Becky, yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. One of my questions is that Michaela Gluckler has talked about illness in relationship to a missed initiation and the effects of that. I'm wondering if you can elaborate on that, especially based on the content that you brought today, to further maybe that thought or understanding around that. And
Missed initiation, yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the light of just being based on our today consideration, what it means missed initiation, when we feel, when we stop our consciousness, when we cross the threshold. Because all mankind has crossed the threshold, and in reality, we hear and see imaginations and hear inspirations, because we are there. All our sheets are in such a connection which is under influence, or on the influence, which is influenced by this being behind, behind the threshold. But we close our eyes, we stop, we just close our ears, we stop initiating information from the world. And we do not consider things in the light of evident truth very often. We try to find convenient explanation what it is. And I think this missed initiation could be considered on the everyday level in such a way. Because life is initiating process, and we see this. But this is such a big temptation to stay in a zone of comfort. This is missed initiation of life. Thank you.
thank you for that.
Okay, thank you very much. So Nicola is next.
Okay, so thank you, Tatiana. I came down with a cold at the solar eclipse, and it has definitely been an opportunity to learn. So I certainly recognize what you're saying there. there was something that, I mean, yeah, so I am, as I think Andre knows, I'm working on a book. The title came to me 7 years ago. It's Mathematics and Morality, Refining Awareness, Deepening Love. And yeah, it's a big title. And I think what you're saying about recognizing that I am responsible for everything in my world is a moral mathematical thought. I can't speak very much now, so this is I go back to the time of Pythagoras and Theano, which was theirs was an esoteric community based on love, on loving friendship. Philia was the Greek word, and it was their philosophia, which is the wisdom of love, or wisdom of loving friendship, was at the basis. And then mathematics came out of that. And we only have half of that mathematics. And that's, we have the quantitative, technical, and visual aspect. We need to bring back the qualitative, the musical, and the spiritual, which was present at that time. And what you're saying about the dead knowledge is based in that dead mathematics. So I was, yeah, and so I'm very grateful for that. In German, the Spruch, that little saying of, yeah, I am responsible for everything in my world as a mathematical thought. But I now actually have a question which came from what you said, Becky, which is a background question which I still haven't, it wasn't in your talk initially, but what does this mean about humanity as a whole having crossed the threshold? Now, I think probably everybody else in this Zoom room knows this and understands it, but I'm quite, you know, a novice, although I've been a member of the society for a long time. Anyway, I would be very grateful if you would say something about that.
I try. Thank you for this question and for these concerns. And what does it mean to be totally in a physical world? It means that you have no possibility, or one has no possibility to penetrate the spiritual world. Kali Yuga is reality. But when Kali Yuga has finished, our etheric bodies got new space, which is coming over our physical head. So there is a special space, etheric space, now in maybe in any or in most of etheric bodies of modern human beings, which is perceiving spirit on that level. So it is coming now. But as we are individuals, we need to confirm this perception. We need to try really to perceive, otherwise we do not do this. This is a question of our freedom. And I also would like to add something to your concerns. We can't come back to any great knowledge. We can renew this knowledge in our hearts.
Yeah.
This is very important. No possibilities to come back.
Yeah.
But all treasures we can renew when we try to see what it is, try to experience what is the spirit which is there. So thank you.
Thank you. That's very helpful. That's very, very simple and clear. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Much. Waldemar, please.
Yes, thank you. Spasiba, Tatiana. Very interesting. I would like to make a contribution. Many people mix moral and ethics. And I make a very clear distinction. Moral is individual, precisely as you said. Moral is always individual. And ethics belongs to a group. For instance, the lawyers have their own ethics, or doctors have their own ethics, or a religion has its own ethics. But this is all community. This is all group. No, it belongs to a group. So ethics is a group, concept, and moral is individual, as you said. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for this concerns, for this remark. And I would like to say that moral is a life's spiritual stream. Ethic is a reflection. It's really a reflection. It's not spirit, but morality is pure spirit. And of course, it must be individual. Thank you. I will remember this remark, and because ethic is also a very important part of our consideration of nowadays. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Waldemar. So, dear friends, more questions. Tatiana? Okay, Becky again. Becky?
On the topic of morality, can you expound? I believe that I had read that Rudolf Steiner says you only come into the world with as much morality as you developed from your past incarnation. And it made me have such an understanding why we can be so inept in certain regards of our striving, but that we can develop the potential for our next incarnation to bring more morality through our inner development. Do you understand it from this perspective, or do you have another thought around that can further that or help me to understand that in a deeper form?
To be in moral realm means to be in experience of spirit. And experience of spirit is just immediate experience, because spirit is changing any moment. And one can experience previous lives in moral aspects only just now, when he or she is thinking about this, or just really experience it, how spirit comes. And when we really are led by moral impulses, we create next incarnation. And next incarnation also like a chance, like a next possibility to be alive. I can add this aspect of moral understanding to your question and to your concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tatiana, it's a question from me.
Yeah,
You
please.
mentioned the fact of crossing of threshold, which has happened in the beginning, on the probably first quarter of 20th century. And humanity may be still in the process of crossing threshold. So which is lead to certain consequences. Specifically, it's human being becoming split. So soul powers are existing separately, like thinking separately from will and feelings. So, but in terms of your profession, so what you can say about psychological or psychiatrical diseases, which is the consequence of crossing threshold, because as I understand, being in the threshold, it will be kind of unprotected in the spiritual world to some degree, because human being, not so much inside of his physicality, which is kind of protected, but kind of naked, and certain beings are approaching more and more. Yeah, this is a question.
There is a lot of diseases in the connection of this situation as a result of this situation. And first of all, I would like to say that people can cross the threshold, but they can't come back in normal consciousness. This is also a kind of disease. When they suddenly have experiences of another world and they can't, so to say, digest those experiences like reality. And after this, some of them can't come back. They can't to keep normal thinking, willing, and feeling for everyday life. And what means that they are separated? It means that one needs to be really rooted in all those soul capacities. If you can think, or one, sorry, in Russian you is very easy, but not in English. If one can think in terms of which are not perceptible physically, he can keep thinking in spiritual world. When we can think with categories of spirits. And philosophy gives us this possibility, especially philosophy of spiritual science. When one can really feel without using body, so suffer, for example, suffer without crying and keep consciousness, or being really endure without laughing and being consciousness. This is another way to keep feeling crossing the threshold. And when we understand our motivation of our behavior here in physical world, this gives us possibility to stay in our will. But for all this, we need real understanding that spirit exists. Otherwise, it will be like a crazy camera, crazy space, when one is absolutely sure that nothing exists crossing the threshold. There is only nothing. And this nothingness can paralyze thinking, feeling, and willing. And I would like just to repeat, it's two processes. First of all, wake up, crossing the threshold, and then come back. Some people can't cross, some can't come back. And a lot of, especially a lot of young people, they are in the situation when they experience both realities and they can't deal with this. Unfortunately, the first reaction is really heavy remedies. And after this, body is not able to support clear consciousness. So fear of spirit is creating a lot of modern diseases. This is situation. But what does it mean from salutogenetic points of view? This situation of crossing and coming back. This is situation when we are still alive. We can keep our consciousness even if it's not clear more. And we have new possibilities. It takes place again, and again. And when my patient does speak me about this, it comes again. You help me to keep consciousness, but it comes again. It comes again. So we have a chance to experience our immortality. This world comes again into our consciousness. And I really hope one day we can understand this is normal. It's not disease more. But it takes time. Thank you for professional questions.
Yeah, here's another part of questions. So part of my personal research, this is experience of humanity as one, a live being, trifolded being. And you as practitioner, you have great ability to travel, and also you're giving professional advices for therapy in certain situations, like pathological situations. So, and you traveling far east, this is Siberia. You also practicing in Europe, in Australia, in English-speaking world. So, what you can say about differences in psychological diseases in these particular areas, just generally? Specifically, what's the difference among them?
Yeah.
Middle Europeans, I mean, people from the West, and Russians, so like Siberians specifically. Do you have any experience, like experiences of differences?
Yes, it's real difference. I agree with you. It's real difference, and this difference is basing on first of all different land, because in China you have absolute another experience that in Germany, and I can feel how land forces are influencing soul, and I need to keep in my mind and take into my intention this power of land. This is first thing is. Then it depends on what is Maya for this person. This is also a traditional thing. What is Maya in Siberia? What is non-reality in England? This is really different things. And it's necessary to be in reality of person. It's necessary to be in the language of person. I do not mean now only do I work in English or in Russian, but language, this vocabulary of soul. And it's really different. And in the West, and how to say, physical reality is really real. People in English-speaking countries are very strong and real, and they look sometimes down, or a little bit down. Middle Europeans, they are here in their E. Like when we are doing Eurus E in Eurus Me, we have this special horizontal looking. This is very important. Yeah. But in Eastern countries, this is this way. Life problem is not reality. The other is more real, more difficult. In Russia, in Siberia, especially in Siberia, one of the biggest problems is how to experience reality just now. Because this is real mood, waiting. In English-speaking world, everything is now. I know, for sure. In Middle Europe, I am thinking. In Russia, I wait. And this waiting, everything is in your life, but sometimes it's impossible to experience it like reality in an Eastern life. In wonder of, for me, it's really wonderful world and minimally understanding, but deeply experiencing China and I hope Japan. They have another experience of reality. And till now I can't come in yet. I can't understand. I can't find real words, because when I try to find those words, I feel this is the wrong words. It's not about this. This is my reflection. It's like a door, entrance into another world. It's really interesting. And I'm very thankful for possibility to travel and to work and travel. Because when you're only traveling, it's not, you're not landed. You're in these net hotels, the same food, everything the same. But when there is a people with whom you can work, who speak to you, it's real difference. Different aspects of pain and different lights of understanding.
Yeah, thank you so much for your answer. Okay, Waldemar is next.
Yes, thank you again. As you appreciated my considerations about moral and ethics, I would like to give you an example. Maybe you'll be able to use it. A very simple example. Suppose someone committed a crime, let's say an economic or finance crime, right? He hires a lawyer, and this lawyer tries to defend his client. So as much as possible, he tries to convince the judge that his client is innocent, but he's sure that he knows that the client has committed the crime. So this is ethical, but it's not moral.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Waldemar. So, Blanca?
Hi, I have a question connected to consciousness and different regions of the earth. What about subtropical regions in the heat? You know, when one would be born in the Central Europe, come to North America, and then go to live in subtropical Latin America. How can one work to balance, somehow to stay conscious in heat? I don't know if that makes sense.
I can imagine this question because in subtropical and equator zone, we are in another condition of warmth. And our warmth organisms is really pressing by the outer warmth. A lot of warmth, and it's not dry warmth. It's another experience in desert and in subtropical climate. What to do to go to consciousness? The easiest way to drink and to eat bite or bit.
Bitter. Bitter?
I just look in my
Вы имеете в виду свеклу?
Горький, горечь,
Bitters.
bitters,
Bitters. Bitters.
Supporting
not
pedagogy.
beetroot, but bitters. Bitters, they, how to say, they concentrate your astral forces, sour and bitters. So lemon and really bitters in the morning. They allow you to incarnate, so to say, with your inner human being more deeply. Then also changing temperature must not be so tough. Air conditioner must not be 20 degrees lower than outside. It really makes us, how to say, very weak. So try to live in the climate as normal as it possible. This is the simplest way. Try to help your organism, your warmth organization with these things. And of course, movement. If one can really walk, maybe night when it's possible, but in equatorial zone, it's the same temperature, 13 days, 13 night. So walking, experience your body and bitters.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I carried this question for so long. So no extreme exercise or no extreme like cold plunges and things like that? No.
Because it's a kind of shock for your sensuality. And we need to be not guests, but we need to, or at least invited guests. Because power of this land, it does not invite our thinking. So we need to use our will and to invite our thinking ourselves.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Christina, next.
Thank you. Hey, Tatiana. I'm working with massage of Sibion Pressel. And I think that is a very, very helpful tool for so many people. I'm working with special needs children. And in our times, you have not children from only one culture. You have a mixture all over the world in the classes. So I'm in Switzerland, but I had only one Swiss child. They are coming from India, from Eritrea, from Albania, Albania. And so, but to see that the children are more in the situation of being here, like the parents, is very interesting. And the Indian boy, especially, the mom is from Hyderabad, and before they lived in Dubai, and then they had to swap to Zurich. So he was just happy to be here and touching snow and having fun in the cold. But his mom, she's totally afraid of getting a cold. So it's totally hot in the flat. Even anytime when I come, she has to open the windows. Otherwise, I can't get air for me to breathe. But the boy was so happy. And to give this, it's special with special needs children who don't speak, but also with other clients I have for massage, to bring that with that special touch of the streaming massage of Simeon Pressel, it's really incarnating and like have a connection. What was my, what I want to have, or my task for this life, to get in touch with that again, what I know before I come down to earth. That is really very special. Do you work with body workers in any kind?
Of course, I cooperate with body workers because some things could be experienced only through body. And in nowadays, we have this problem with lower senses. And a lot of people have a problem with this. I can prescribe something, some oils when I have a feeling, and I really recommend a kind of massage. Sometimes not streaming massage, but so to say sporty massage, when one needs to experience the heaviness of body. And what is the heaviness of body? This is self-experience in gravitation. This is waking up in this gravitation. Yes, of course, I cooperate with massage, and I know how does it work also in my own experiences. And it's again one of the gifts of Anthroposophy. This very simple but so helpful things. When we understand what it is, it's really practical understanding. Earth is reality, spirit is reality.
And to know behind this Anthroposophy, what is this body that you have, the zodiac, you have, and Pressel especially look more to the planets, to the organs, and he could touch the lower leg and then know where is the problem.
Yeah, and thank you for this. And I would like to add that there also could be a kind of wrong thoughts concerning this misunderstanding when we try to find way to the stars, not through body, but in our behavior. This is disorientation. They live in body. So thank you. This is really very important. Where we have stars and planets. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to just add for Christine, because you are a massage therapist. So a sense of touch will be transformed later, specifically for child. Later, it will be transformed into ego, sense of ego. So, and you know, in the West, I'm living in Chicago, so people kind of now untouchable. You know, certain restrictions, so teachers or adults cannot touch the child because it can be treated as, I don't know, whatever.
We have that problem in social pedagogic. You have not the right to close a door, even when you have to give a bath and so on. And it's horrible. It's going really totally crazy. And I never use plastic gloves. I touch the people. And when I was starting in that school, I became a first class. So they can't sit. They don't know how to speak, how to behave. I have to go with them into the bathroom and cleaning, changing the naps and so on. And when there is then a happening because you change the epileptic medicine and all runs through, my young helpers in the class, they are sometimes, I think I need an app for sending them with the child. Otherwise, it will not work. So mostly I was the one, because they can't. And they get that order, don't touch and do that and that and that. And so you lose the normal, warm, and sometimes also saying, now stop. You get more and more the people not having a real, was heißt das? Begegnung. It's not a real touch from one to one.
Exactly. Yeah, like in here, it's even funny because in order to touch the child, they're using certain media like a big bowl, or it's they're purchasing special machines, which are touching, touching the child. So, and this is really for awakening for in the future for ego forces, because child, as you know, I mean, it must be touched by parents at least.
So we had also that wonderful lecture with Eugene Schwartz. That was great.
Yeah. Okay, dear friends, so we are working already 1 hour and 30 plus minutes. Yeah, is it a good time to say thank you so much to Tatiana for her wonderful presentation? And, I very appreciate, because Tatiana, unfortunately, it's only this year a voice from Russian Anthroposophical Society. Thank you so much, Tatiana. It's very, very precious. Yeah, thank you, dear friends. If you can feel free to unmute your machines and wave and say thank you to Tatiana.
Thank you and goodbye. And I hope that we will find a way to think together, to work together. And in this case, we just create our future. So thank you. And we will have good creation. Thank you.
Tatiana. Thank you, dear friends, for joining us.
Bye.
Yeah, you good?
Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Tatiana. Wonderful.
Yeah, you're good. You're okay, right? So it's nice to see you.
So can I just say one sentence? Blanca was asking what is the difference between rhythmical massage and from Pressel. I sent you my email and we can send us an email. I hope you can see that in the chat.
Thank you so much. I see it there.
Do it right now.
Thank you. I know. Let me see.
Okay, thank you, friends.
Copy and paste.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.